Hey guys, this is Asker. Welcome to the weekly market review. Let's get into it. So last week we set up a few trades, and one of them was Euro AUD, which is now running here pretty well in profit. I want to have a talk about this setup, and I also want to talk about this new setup that is showing now and how you should go about adjusting it. So first of all, last week we talked about this overextended trend on SPX coming to an end. Let's go have a look at this real quick. And we're talking about that this entire impulse might have seen it's coming to an end. It's possible. It's looking more likely this week. It's looking even more likely this week than last week. And we talked about how do we benefit from this? How do we go about extracting profits from the market, even though we can, we don't really go against the trend. So what do we do? Well, one of the things we did is that we found some really good setups on different forex markets, which already were weakening their uptrend, which were, front running all of the moves, the current trend that we're in, and then therefore also might front run the coming down trend, right? And here we are. So we found a short that we're setting up here. The TP1 was down here, and find a TP down here. But now when we're coming back to the setup, what we're seeing is that there's another strategy setup showing here. And probably if we go to Sona, you will also see the setup here. So what does this exactly mean? Well, you have to understand that we are in a new context now. This is a different environment. What you're seeing here is not the same trade as before. This is a different trade, okay? It's very important to point out. Because right now, there's multiple things that can happen. But most often, either it goes down or something goes up, right? Now, let me explain the implications here. So, this current setup we have here, that we are we are short in here, is, basically from last week, based on last week's market structure. And this setup was built around a thesis that the market would pump into the entry here and then give a strong rejection that might extend all the way down to here. That was the setup, and that setup is still valid, and that is the setup that we are trading right now. As you can see, the stop loss up here now is much tighter than the stop loss that was set on our trade. So this is a completely different trade. Okay? That doesn't mean that our previous trade is anything wrong with it or we need to adjust it all. You don't. What you need to think about is really what can happen from here. Okay? Because we are playing a very long swing trade here. But what the Sona is telling us, what the strategy mode, what the algorithm is showing us here is that if the market somehow recovers from this and start bouncing back up here, then on this one-day setup that we are looking at right here, right now, it basically changes the entire market structure and the idea of this rejection that the current trade is based on. The idea was that we're going to pump into this resistance and then we're going to have a steep drop off. And that's what we're seeing so far. It's all playing out like we wanted to. So that's very nice. But the thing is, if the market does turn around here and start going back up, then we will start to be in a climb, basically. And it's basically where we go from this kind of setup and it starts to just overextending. So in that case, that it does come back up here, it means that there's more strength among the buyers than was expected. And that means, so I'm just checking the microphone. Looks good. That means that there's more strength than actually was expected. And that means we need to adjust our ideas for TP1 and TP2 if we take the trade up here. Now, I want to explain, this doesn't mean there's anything wrong with the original setup. It just means that if the market, for some reason, maybe turns around here and start coming back up, this entire idea of a swing trade as we set it up from here with a stop loss here, it doesn't really make sense anymore, because instead of finding ourselves in a short swing setup like that, we're finding ourselves in a much more tight environment where we should not have expectations to take a TP down here. We should have expectations to take TPs here and here, right? So that's what's currently happening. So if this thing starts turning around and it comes back into the entry area, it might very well still be a short, okay? And we can discuss that this current setup differently. But as it looks right now with the current setup and the idea that we based on from the previous, it's all looking good. It's all looking fine here. It's all playing out like we want to see. Now we had another trade as well, which were AUD USD, And you can see this one just barely missed here. It's such a shame. Would have been a nice quick TP1, but that's how it is. Sometimes we just don't get them. How it is. Now, given my current exposure to AUD already, and that we missed this one, I'm actually not that interested in having this trade on anymore, because I already have exposure. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna close this trade out, because I don't like how I missed it. Yeah, it sucks. I could have made money and so on, but I'm not gonna, be upset about that. This is just part of the game. We didn't get this one, we got the other one. That's fine. So I'm happy with my AUD exposure that I have in this trade. I like the overall market structure. I like the rejection we saw up here. It's a great entry. It's a quick rejection from it. It's all looking good. If the market comes back up here, is it a short? Yeah, it is still a short up here, in my opinion. It might still do it. But if it does that, it kind of alters the idea of this short trade setup we have. And you want to be looking at adjusting your TP to here and here. That's what I think. The current stop loss of the trade is all the way up here, and the new stop loss for this setup is here. Why? Well, as you can see, we have extension 1 up here, and we have already been playing around with extension 1 a lot, right? You can see there was all this consolidation. So if the market already starts to go above resistance here and start to consolidate above it, what that means is that the buyers are in control and they're pushing it above the resistance level. They're consolidating it into extension 1 again. And if it really starts pushing beyond extension 1 again, and it already has once, that's a very strong indication that this market is going higher for whatever reason. So, that means we can use the tighter stop loss. We can use the tighter stop loss because we can say with pretty high conviction that if the market were to push above extension 1 here, then we're looking at the second time it's consolidating above resistance and into extension 1. So you just don't really want to be short of that. It's not that it might still do the downside and so on, but the probability is just much lower, right? What we want to see is that we want to see continuous strength from this area, just like we saw here. And we got the push back up, and we got a great entry, and the market immediately acknowledged what we did. So that's really good. That's what we want to see. Now let's go have a look at SPX. Yeah. And I'm sorry about the voice. I'm a little bit under the weather. A little bit under the weather. Okay, so we have SPX here. It's still doing. It's still. It's still just stuck here, but nothing, in my opinion, really changes. If you look at RTD here, or real-time trend detection, you can see that how far the local is above the global here. Like the distance between those two is quite a bit. It means it has a lot of room for pullback and still being in an uptrend. And that is really the area where we get to work and make money. Is that when everyone else think the trend is going to be over, it's still, if you get 3750, there's a lot of people that's going to be trying to short it like super heavily to go down. But depending on how fast we get down to 3750, like if it's a quick move, it will be a really good buy. If it's like a slow bleed, say something like this, that's really bad for the overall strength of the trend, and most likely, we will see some extended selling that will even kill this 3750 level. But if we're just seeing, something like this, okay, that was a little poor. Let's try that one more time. Whoop, and then straight down. That's a great buy. That's a great buy, and you want to buy that. Even if you lose the trade, you should take that trade every time. Every time on these strong uptrending markets, which do like a quick wipe up of all the people that has just been sucked into the market. Because you have to think about it every time from a perspective of who is gonna lose, who is gonna win, and how are they gonna lose, and how are they gonna win. And then you want to think about what everyone else is doing. Well, I think everyone else just got sucked into this. All the retail people that started trading 2021, 2022, 2023, all the new people, I think this is a sucker move. I think they got sucked into this, and I think they're gonna get destroyed. It reminds me a lot of 2018. It was like every bounce in 2018 in crypto, every time that the market bounced, people just got sucked back into it. They kept buying and buying because they had been conditioned to buying for so long that every time the market went down, all they had to do was buy. Now it's a new market environment, and a lot of people just getting punished for doing that. We only want to be buying when we have strong conviction, and we can see it in the market that there's an active buyer. Okay, today I'm not going to be too long, so let's go have a look at Bitcoin real quick. Bitcoin sets the trend for pretty much all of crypto, and so you can see that the local has actually come down to meet the top of the global trend here, and it still has a lot of room down into this area to still be in an uptrend, So, I mean, it doesn't look great. Nothing about this really, like in the terms of like trend, in terms of like trend continuation, I don't think this is looking that great at the moment. I've been saying this for some time. I think there's a very good chance we test 20k. I also think there's a very solid chance that 20k will provide, real buyers, and we might be able to hold the market here for like a second. We might be able to get something like this. Hang on, see if we can do that slightly better. We might be able to, and then a dip, and then something like this, and then maybe 25k, and then something like that. Oh, so again, I think a lot of people has been sucked into the market again. I think they're going to get punished. Of course, this can turn into like a very strong bull market. It's entirely possible. And if you remember, we were very early here, and I longed the shit out of Bitcoin. Did really well when we started crossing over into the bullish territory here in very early January. Did really well, but I haven't really interacted with Bitcoin since I've taken my profits at 23k and 20k. It's just like, it's, what you gotta do with markets is that you gotta get in, you gotta have to make your money, and then you have to get out and then stop. What most people do is that they they have a plan of something they want to do. They go into the market, they execute it. Maybe they have a few flaws, maybe they have a few problems, whatever, but they execute it. And then they stick around. And they keep doing like small deals or try to do other things. And they start to lose a little bit of capital. Now they lost a little bit of capital, they were like, oh fuck it. I'm gonna make back what I lost, what I just had, my all-time high that I had just made it to. I'm gonna make back what I lost, and then I will get the fuck out. That's usually the mentality people have, because that's just how human brains work. It's like, you don't want to go home with less fish than you had earlier. You want to have the maximum amount of fish to take home, right? So this is how people lose all their profits that they've just made, is that they very easily get lost in these mental conflicts in their mind. So every time you gotta do it different than what these people are doing. All the time you have to be the one who is patiently waiting for the right opportunity. And right now that opportunity is waiting for either of these sides to be taken out, either to take the shorts out with a big candle into 25k, or take the longs out with a deep candle maybe into 20k, right? But what you need is that you need a flush event. You need to get all this flushed out, all these people, and it's basically like a puke. The market is the market is overheated. It's just a matter of like who's gonna do it, and what time. So time is everything in the market, like it's not really about these support and resistance levels and so on. What it is about is, the price at the right moment of time. And that means is that right now 20k is a good buy. Today, this very minute, if Bitcoin trades 20k, it's a buy, right? Obviously, because it's trading at 22k, there'll be a 10% drop in a minute. That would be a buy for sure. But if this keeps, going down slowly over the bleeding out over the, the next two days, then it's not the same time and price point as right now. And there will be different buyers available, different levels of liquidity that's different from what we have right now. And that is why these algorithmic levels change all the time. It's because time and price it matters so much. It matters so much. It's really everything. Okay, so let's see. Let's go have a look at the wicks. And by the way, Bitcoin will set the trend for all coins, all cryptocurrency coins. It doesn't really matter. Look at Bitcoin and you will know where the rest of the market is. That's how I feel. Okay, so the wicks, look at this. It's kind of snaking around down here. Like you can see, it's kind of like doing the snake move. I think this has a lot of, again, I think it has room for volatility to increase. You can see it's already up. The wicks is up 10% today, which is not unusual. That's, you can see that's pretty common. But at some point, this is just gonna go, and you get that spike, like you get every time, right? So it will come. You just have to make sure that, you're in a position to take advantage of it, right? Like you gotta let everyone else play their move first. You gotta let everyone else get into position first. You gotta let everyone else do the mistakes that you would be doing in order to be in a position where you can take advantage of it. And that's the hard part. Hard part is staying patient to wait for that time. Okay. I know there's a lot of people who also like gold, so let's just have a look at gold. I heard silver got absolutely nuked. Okay, so here is a good example of a strong trend where it's starting to, really come into the global trend, right? So this is where we should start to find maximum support. So I think there's a very good chance gold will test 1750 here. I know that sounds a little bit extreme, but these are some big fucking candles. That's some real volatility. So 1750, I think there's a good chance. To be honest, I don't know if it's gonna be a buy, because if we're already trending down and gold is already ahead of this, and we're already here right now, it might be lower than 1750. It might be, it might be something like 1730, 1725, this kind of area. You can see you can really see like this point here is a very significant point before this breakout and then the retest and so on. So I think down here would be an excellent buy for gold. See if we can make this box green. Right, so the green box here. We'll come back to this next week and see how it does. But again, it depends how it gets that. We just kind of want to see gold nuke straight into this box. Like we want to see this kind of stuff. That's really what we're going for. That's what we want to see here in order for this to be a buy. What we don't want to see is like it just to bleed out like this into 1750. That's a very bad. That's gonna kill the trend, and that will put it into a downtrend. If this is the case, then most likely we'll be in a downtrend by the time it hits here. What you want to do is you want to get in and you want to find a short so you can take it even furthermore down. Let me think. Okay, let's have a look at some daily setups. Forex majors minus. Yeah, looks pretty good. Have a look what we can find. GBP CHF. Okay. Alright. Yeah, so we gotta, again, we have, well, to be honest, this looks, let's see. This market has already been weak since December. I think this is a great short. I think this is a great short. I think the price action looks good. What I mean by that is look at this candle, look at that rejection, look at this, and then I move into here, take out the shorts. Yeah, I like this. Let's set this up. GBP CHF, I like this. So that's a 4-hour setup here. Very nice. So what is that makes me like? I like the weakness that has been persistent in this market, which I can see by looking at the trend. I can see that the weakness in this market there's been a weakness in this market for quite some time, since December. So when real weakness comes into the market, well, that's probably when we're gonna start to see, this kind of deal, this kind of sell-off, right? Okay, let's move along. NAS 100. Okay, so that's a long setup on NAS. And we're kind of getting it here. Okay, so let's talk about this for a second here. Trade setups that generally come out like this, meaning that the market is already trading inside the green box by the time that it shows up and so on like that. In general, stay away from them. Why? Because the market is already showing more weakness than we would like to see. We want to engage with markets before they get to the entry level. What makes us different from what everyone else is doing is that we don't execute like we don't just look at a chart and then be like, oh yeah, this looks good, and then buy and sell. No, we set up trades that is designed around real trading plans, real opportunities in markets before they happen. If we go execute this trade right now, then we are engaging with a market in its current noise level. And what that means is that everyone else that's putting on trades right now in this level, I don't like it. I would not take this trade. I think first of all, this up here, this price action above this level, very, very nasty with candles like that. That's not a good. And now it's already trading below 12,500, which is the key level here. And I might be wrong. This could be a winning setup. This maybe, this idea of the trend coming to an end, I'm completely wrong. It's possible. It's possible. I know there's both people on the spectrum right now. When you look at like Twitter and the market comment, everyone else trading and so on. So might be wrong. I'm just saying this is not your best opportunity probability wise. I would be happier to buy it down here, but I don't want to engage with it here, to be honest. So let's see. $1 Japanese yen. Oh, I don't know. It's very messy. Like, look at this over and over again, so on. Yeah, maybe it's just not. I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it. SPX4 set up here. Wanna buy down at. I think it's too close. I think there needs to be more blood. I'm not interested in buying this. Euro JPY. Alright, looks good. In general, a lot of weakness. Okay, so I just came back from Japan, and I will tell you that everything in Japan right now is insanely cheap. So the question is if the Bank of Japan is going to continue to print money, or are they going to stop it? And they are already on a crazy level with printing money compared to what, that the entire world is trying to kill inflation. So I think, I don't know. But my confidence level in this trade is not that high. Moving along. Aha, there's a short setup on silver here. I like that. If we could magically get an entry here, yeah, I would like that. I would like that. I don't have. Okay, let's go find. Don't have. Let's see how. Yeah. Okay, so we can't take the silver setup against Euro because I don't have Euro on my trading account, but what I can do is I can look at silver USD, and this is actually an even stronger market to shut down because the gold, right? Sorry, you haven't even looked at dollar index. Okay, look at that. So we have talked about this for the previous weeks, is that we would see some strength coming back to the dollar index, and you can see it here. It's now starting to move up. So maybe that was it. And if that is the case, everything is going to pull back, right? If this is going to continue up from here, usually when you look at this market, it's pretty common to just set a direction, then keep going that direction, and then change direction and keep going that direction, like just extending its trend. So there's a pretty good chance this goes just straight up from here. And if that goes straight up from here, everything else will go straight down. And that's why you want to make sure that you're not buying. You want to make sure you're buying the strongest markets of all. That's the first point. So you want to look at RTD and you want to find the strongest trending market to buy when we're trying, if we're going to try to buy this pullback across all the markets, right? Secondly, you want to try to get in on this, and you want to try to find weak markets that's already shown weakness, and you want to get short on those. All right. Now, let's have a look. So I think this would be a great setup, and I would like to take it. So I'm gonna set it up. This is what my entry is gonna look like. I want to scale my TPs by 3. Yeah, that's pretty good. And we want to go ahead and place this, and you can see that everything is automatically calculated for me. Everything is good. Everything is green. Let's go ahead and place this. Very nice. And I want to spread out my entries a little bit, like this. That's very good. And we'll leave this cooking, and we'll come back to it next week and see if we get it or not get it. Ideally, we just want to get a spike, like some Fed news or some other news or whatever. We want to see a spike. That would be a really great thing. Kill the shorts that just entered down here. Like, think about what are people doing right now. They're seeing silver go down, and whatever conspiracy hats that they're wearing that makes them think like, oh, silver is just gonna fucking die. We want to see these people get squeezed out. We don't want to engage with the market down here. We don't want to buy it down here. We don't want to short it down here. We want to make sure that everyone else that is engaging with the market down here gets fucked first, and then we want to buy their stop losses. We want to buy their liquidations or sell their liquidations. Okay, so keep that in mind. Okay, let's keep moving along here. So these are too old, 3 days. You can see a lot has happened already in 3 days, so you want to stay on top of these markets. Let's go have a look at some shorter term, and then we'll call this a day, guys. Let's have a look. So dollar index coming up, like we have talked about. Let's have a look. Another short here. What do we have? Euro, New Zealand dollar. Let's have a look at this. Euro, New Zealand dollar. Let's have a look at the trend first. Okay. Let's just zoom out a little bit here. What's going on here with this market? Euro, New Zealand dollar. So I want you to have a very close look at this. So even though we are trading the 15-minute setup here on Euro, New Zealand dollar, what we want to do is we want to zoom out just to understand this market. Like, what the hell is going on here? And what we can see is that we have had these very strong trends and these very strong moves up and down. You know, it's been very strong, and then we kind of fallen into a period here where we have completely lost volatility and the strength of direction, right? So we want to have an understanding of this. Well, what does this usually mean? So we can go back in history. We can have a look at 2021 May. You can see that it did a similar thing. So basically, a consolidated period where it just trades pretty much between a range, and that can last is from March to August. And okay, so remember, this is a 15-minute setup that we are looking at. We are not looking at a swing trade or something like this. It's a 15-minute setup, and for a 15-minute setup, this is exactly the environment that you want to be trading. You want to be trading this consolidated sideways market, right? This is not the kind of market to get long for like a swing trade or something like this. This is the kind of market where you want to get in, you want to get out, and that's it, right? So for that approach and for what we've seen here, let's see. Oh, I see it already played out. Didn't hit the stop loss. Very well protected stop loss. It's already done. In that case, I wouldn't repeat this trade. Why? Because the buyers that was going to buy this level here, they're already taking out, you know. So that was a nice trade, went very well, very close to the stop loss. But that is the thing with these sideways markets, is that they're going to do exactly like that. That's exactly what they do. It's probably going to come down for another round. I would not be surprised to see it come down, do something like this, and then whatever. I don't know. Okay, but anyway, the analysis we did early on, looking from the daily perspective, confirmed. 100% correct. Sideways market, good trade here. Let's see what else. Alright, we can see this one didn't do so well. So let's have a look at AUD JPY, right? Was there any signs telling us that this was not a good trade? Yeah, there were several signs that we can look at here. First of all, look at this mess. What is this? Super messy price action going on here. Not healthy at all on the larger time frames, right? 4 hour, strange, very strange. Not something that's like really conclusive that you want to engage with. But beside that, looking at this structure, right, before it happens, this is when we had the setup. And this is what happened. Well, what you're seeing is that you're seeing the market just slowly move like this, right? That's not what you want to see. You don't want to see it move into a neutral level like that, just slowly consolidating into it. It's not the kind of trade we want to really engage with, because that just makes it part of the noise. So this is a very weak trending trade. You can see it here as well, weak trend. Not ideal, and it didn't do very well. I mean, maybe you could have gotten an entry and you could have taken a TP1, but all that consolidation here, while slowly, you know, moving into the entries, it's not a good sign. The kind of trades that we wanna get into is where we have a setup like this, right? Let's just say it like this, and we get a quick move into it and then down. That you know, we wanna be waiting on the sidelines, away from the price, not close to the price. We want to be waiting for people to come into these trades. We want to be waiting for people to engage with the market in this where it is here, and then we want to be waiting for them to be pushed out in one direction, and then when they get stopped out, that's where we want to get into our position. We want to be getting into position when everyone else is getting out of position. When everyone else is forced out of position, that's when we make our trades. That's when we make our money. That's when we take money from everyone else in the market. If you engage with the market doing what everyone else is doing, you will, with 100% guarantee, lose over and over again. Nothing is going to change for your trading until you stop doing what everyone else is doing and you start doing the opposite of what everyone else is doing, which is being patient, waiting for good opportunities to come your way. So there might be a week where you don't get a trade. There might be 2 weeks where you don't get a trade, or maybe there will be 2 weeks where you get a 10 trade. The point is that you gotta have the ability to sit out and wait for all these other people to be making mistakes, because that's what needs to happen for you to make money. So I just want you to remember that and ask yourself every time you're looking at a market, it's like, well, what is everyone else doing? What is it that I feel like when I'm looking at this market doing? Like, what is it that I feel like doing? And then you can go read on Twitter and you can see, like, what is people doing? They're getting into shorts, they're getting into longs, whatever. And then just think about, how are these people going to get fucked? And that is where you'll find your opportunity. And you have hundreds of markets to do this on, so there's no excuse. And you want to find great markets, you can use the Breakfree Trading algorithms to find great trending markets or weak trending markets, whatever it is that you want to be trading. Okay, guys, so I hope this was a little eye-opening for you, and looking forward to talking with you again tomorrow at the weekly live stream. So have a great week, guys, and Remember, you gotta stay patient. See y'all.